Okay, we're doing battle number 7 on the road to Las Vegas 2025. This case is called Lost Instructions, written by Peter Sharl. Let's get started. My first step is to load my lambdas. And second step is going to be, we want to combine all the data in all these different tabs. So we're going to use Power Query. Data, get data from file, and work with it. And so what we're going to do is it'll load all the worksheets into the table. We're going to filter out the tabs that we don't want, and then expand all those tabs to have all the actual row data. Okay, so like I said, we're going to filter the answers in the case out. We don't want those, and we don't need these columns. I'm going to then expand the data here. Now, the data that we actually want is in the first 5 columns here, 6 columns, so just remove everything else. And this column is all null, so we can get rid of that. And then this is where all the answers are. We're just going to filter out the nulls here. I'm going to promote headers so we have nice labels, and then filter out all the unnecessary extra labels. And we'll load that to a worksheet. T. And I'll just rename these labels here, player, game, and I'm going to add a column called example to let me filter out examples when I don't want them. Okay, now let's get started with level 1. Correct answer is just a filter on that player. So guess where the game equals the game number times the player equals the input player. Okay, so it equals that. For level 2, the logic of the correct answer is the same, but for our final logic, it's actually going to be a count of the players who have the correct answer. So that's going to be T game equals this times T guess equals this. Good. All right, level 3, again, the same logic for the correct answer. However, on this, we want the sum of the player numbers instead of the count. Well, that's a super easy change. Level 4, we're going to have the same logic for the rest of the case in terms of what goes here. They always want the sum of the player numbers who have the correct answer. What changes going forward is the actual logic for the correct answer. Here we want the player who's not listed has the correct answer. So we're going to say equals filter. We have a filter here. Let me just copy this base here. We have the game number. We want the player. So we're going to say is NA X match player, comma. We need to wrap a value around a text split. Okay. And that gets the correct answer. Good. Now for this one, the correct answer is the most common answer, which I feel like is a pretty good logic that you would use anywhere else if it weren't for these instructions. So we're going to say most of, and I'm just going to filter T guess on T game equals this. And I think that's correct. Good. Now here, we want only these players. I'm going to go up 2 levels and copy this formula because it's got some similar logic. But instead of is NA, I want is number. And that should give me the list of guesses, and I just need to wrap that in an average. Average. And that's good. There's a calc error here. It does say if no one got it right, we'll do a 0. So we're just going to wrap this in an if error. Now we're good. Okay, in this one, we want the players from this list whose player number is divisible by this number. So we've got a good base over here already. We just need to add in a extra condition for the mod. So this is going to be mod t player by this number, and that should equal 0. That's good. Now we have a problem on this row and this row, which can't divide by 0. So in that case, the instructions say only give the player numbers who have prime numbers. And I'm just gonna manually find the primes in this list. Like that. Just eyeball it. Of course, you have to know all the primes, but that's a different issue. 7, 5, 3, 2, 11. Okay. Now I'm gonna just change these two formulas manually. We don't need this mod filter condition anymore. We do need this is number x match pattern, but the values that we're searching for are here instead. And so that's correct. Okay. Now, across all these like highlighted green cells, these are our correct answers, and we're going to need these for the bonuses. So before we start, we're going to go to our table and add in information about the correct answers. So we can say look up for each game number. The game numbers are in column B. The answers that we've solved for are in column G. That gives the correct answer, and I'm just going to compare that against the guess from each row, and it will tell me if it's true or false now. The score is going to be correct answer times points. And now we can answer the bonuses. So count ifs, this is about how many games in level 1 did player 1 get correct. So T player 1, T level 1, T example is false, and T correct is true. Okay. Alright. Now for these next few bonuses, we're going to use a similar structure. I'm thinking of a group by table, and then we're going to use an index to get the row and the column that we want for each of these questions. So I'm going to start by saying index and then group by. In this case, we want to group by game numbers, and I'm going to do a double negative against the correct column so that I can add them up as integers. And then the only thing else we have to do is make sure we get the sort order right. We want ascending by the second column, and then the filter is going to be T level equals 4. Oh, we need 2 filters. Actually, we need to don't forget about the examples. Exclude the examples. It's false. Okay. Now that we have the group by, we want the first row, and we want the first column. I'm going to use that same structure for the rest of these and make simple tweaks. We want the game number that all players got correct. Well, that's just taking away this level 4 condition and then reversing the order of the group by table. 97. Okay. Now, how many points did the winning player get? So we're going to change the group by to a player, and we're going to, instead of correct answers, we want to add the score. And then we also need to change the output column. Instead of which player, we want to know the actual score that they're getting. So 428. Last but not least, getting how many of the correct answers they got is just scores greater than 0. Greater than 0. Like that. 12:50, 9 minutes 41 seconds. Not bad. I'm Excel Gladiator, and my goal in creating this video is to help people level up their Excel skills, as well as grow the world of Excel esports. If you want to help me do that, please like and subscribe, drop a comment, or check out one of these other videos.